Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of our Thursday Facebook Live. My name is Paula Shadiedo, and today I'll be taking you on the topic debt recovery strategies. I know someone out there is wondering why debt recovery strategies. Well, you and I know that debt has become a common phenomenon in the world today. There are various reasons why people borrow money. Some of them are valid reasons, while some are questionable. There are also many reasons why people lend out money. You can have your family member or your friend walk up to you, to ask for money, and you lend out money to them. Or even in the case of finance companies, finance companies, for instance, their business is to lend out money. They don't operate as regular banks operate. They do not open accounts or collect deposits or whatnot, but their own business is to lend out money to people that need money, say for instance loans, and then they collect interest from these individuals. Usually their interest rates are higher than banks, so that is how they make their own money. So we can see that the topic debt, it has come to stay, because one way or the other people would borrow money, people would lend out money, and debts would exist. So we are all familiar that with finance companies, we already know that finance companies, their business is to lend out money, and we are familiar with the scenario where people lend out money to their friends or their families, and at the point of lending out the money to them, these friends and families make promises of repayment, like, oh, I'll pay you at so time, you will not have to ask me for the money. But when the time of repayment comes, they become unreachable. You start to call them, message them, they are basically not forthcoming on repayment, and you start to wonder, is this how my money would go, or how do I collect this money? Because you cannot put a knife to their throat to collect the money back. This unfortunately comes to play in the corporate world too, where corporations give out loans to customers with or without collaterals, as it may be, and when the debt is due, the customer is either unwilling or unable to pay for various reasons. Now the question then becomes, how do you deal with it? Especially where you have mischievous customers that intentionally take loans with the intention to abscond and never pay you back. How do you go about this? Before we proceed, I would like to define debt. From the introduction, I believe you already have like an idea about what debt is, and all of us have a residual knowledge of what debt is. Everybody says, oh, you owe me this, oh, you owe me that, so we have an idea about what debt is. But I will still define debt in the ordinary parlance and in the context of this article. So in the context of these articles, debt is something that is, in the context of this article, money borrowed from one party by another party. Now, many companies and individuals use debt as a means of making large purchases that they cannot afford under normal circumstances, or in settling certain expenses that they cannot afford at a given time. In a debt-based financial arrangement, the borrowing party gets permission to borrow money under the condition that it must be paid back at a later date, usually with an interest, like I already mentioned. It may not suffice, however, that the borrowing party has promised to pay back, because for various reasons the person can default. Maybe the person runs a business, the business can crash, anything can happen. So it's not enough that, oh, I have said I will pay you back your money. There has to be some form of tangibility to that promise. So the question then becomes, how can a lending party ensure that the borrowing party repays his or her debt to avoid running at a loss on the part of the lending party? We will be examining strategies that can be adopted by the lending party to recover debt from willing and unwilling debtors alike. So now we'll be going into the topic of the day, that is the strategies to recover debt from willing and unwilling debtors alike. Now, while there is no indomitable method of debt recovery, the following strategies can help to improve your chances of recovering your debts, especially where the lending party is a corporate organization. Now, we know for individuals, we can just try to go by means of self-help. But corporate organizations, there's so little they can do. They have to stay within the restrictions of the law, within the ambit of the law. so that the tables will not turn around and then the haunted or the hunter becomes the haunted. So now we'll be going into the strategies. The first strategy I'll be preferring is due diligence. Now, due diligence is everything for me. It is the crux of the matter for me. It is as important as your business. You have to do your due diligence. Like, you must do your due diligence. The need to carry out due diligence in knowing your customer cannot be overemphasized. You want to know the source of their income, their livelihood. You want to know if the source of their livelihood can or would afford them the opportunity to repay your debt. You do not expect somebody that earns 20,000 naira a month to come to you for a 2 million naira debt and intend to pay back that debt with 20,000 naira in this Nigeria. I mean, that's lack of due diligence on your part, if you ask me. So also, we have clients or customers, debtors in this context, that come to people or come to corporate organizations to ask for money. Oh, I want to invest in this, I want to invest in this. It is not enough that the person has, sugar coated the investment, or I want to go into this and I believe it will be profitable. No, you have to go the extra mile. Do your own research. How is this going to be profitable? How is economic fluctuations going to affect this investment? If anything happens now, how do I get back my money? You should go after your money. Your money is your priority here. So it's not enough that this particular person or customer, prospective customer, has told you that the investment is profitable, the investment is going to make a lot of waves. You have to go the extra mile. Know what this investment is about. You also want to dig into the credit history of the customer, which will reveal the customer's ability to repay debts and the responsibility the customer has demonstrated in repaying debts in the past. Now, some people up from one finance organization or finance company to the other, borrowing money, and they don't pay back. Say for instance, someone borrows money from company A, doesn't pay back. Company A has been requesting for their money and still goes to company B. Now, it would be lack of diligence on the part of company B to not research into the credit history of that customer, to know that, okay, this customer is still owing company A and is yet to pay and is not even responsible, with repayment. So you want to go into that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be looking at is ensure huge loans are guaranteed. Now, I know finance companies always have that temptation to give out loans because you want interest. You're just looking at, okay, I want interest, so how do I get many people to borrow? So you are calling them. You want to give them juicy, like you want to give them at a juicy rate. Okay, you don't have to put collaterals, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that. Okay, maybe 20k or 50k, or let's just say 100,000. You can say, okay, no collateral. But once the loans is getting into millions, I believe you should get collaterals. It is very important. Anything can happen. It is not enough that the customer has said, oh, I'm going to pay you back. No, you need security basically for your loan. So ensure that you get collaterals for huge sums. And collaterals can be anything. It can be a car, it can be house, it can be bank assets, that is intangible assets. It can be anything. Just make sure that your interest is protected, your money is secured. Now, the next point I'll be raising is, okay, know why your client hasn't paid. Now, this sounds like, what's my business? Why should I know why this client has not paid me? I mean, it is my money. You borrowed my money, so pay me back my money. But unfortunately, you might have to consider this as a very vital point. This strategy applies to corporate organization and individual lenders alike. The first instinct of a lender is to say, or to go by threats, by way of threats or by force, but you have to calm down. So for instance, now let's assume a situation where a debtor does not have money, sincerely does not have money, Now, because that debtor does not have money today, does not mean the debtor will never have money to repay. So when the debtor has approached you and the debtor has said, oh, I don't have money now, but I'm working towards something, it's not time for you to insist on instant payments, because the debtor might as well say, you know what, I don't have money and I don't have money, and that is it. The worst thing you can do is to kill me. One thing you want to do is you want to negotiate, you want to bring out that, to resolve, you want to basically resolve the dispute at hand. So it would be wise for you to give the debtor a time frame. Maybe the debtor is saying, oh, I don't have money now. Oh, would you be able to pay in a year? Would you work towards repaying this loan in a year? You want to open a window for the debtor to feel encouraged to work towards repaying the debt. So it's not for you to insist on instant payment, because honestly there's nothing you can do. So I think you want to consider all those things. Also, you also want to consider offering debtors easy repayment options. Now, sometimes debt balances are too large to pay all at once, and the debtor may be able to split the payments and pay off in installments. Now, this is not the time to insist on full repayment. Also, you want to leverage on your negotiation skills and what the debtor can work with to ensure eventual repayment of the debt. Now, in this scenario, now you can say, oh, okay, can you pay, let's say a debtor is owing, like, let's say 3 million, can you pay 500,000 naira monthly? Okay, if you are able to pay back 500,000 monthly for the period of maybe so months, I'll give you this waiver, I'll give you this discount, I'll give you this concession. You are trying to play smart here, because it is your money is on the line. So you want to look at, okay, how to make it easy for this person, because if the person cannot pay the money, they can't pay the money, and that's just it. So you want to consider giving or offering easy repayment options. Also, what you can do, you can offer an attractive deal. Now, this may be in the form of a discount, a concession, or a waiver. Now, you may also reward your good debtors by offering them a discount upfront. Now, in this scenario, someone has come to your company to request for a loan. Now, this loan would the term of the loan is going to be maybe for 3 months, and after that it will become due for repayment. You want to encourage the debtor, oh, if you're able to pay in 2 months time, I'm going to give you this discount. So maybe the interest rate is normally 5%. You want to say, oh, if you pay before 3 months, your interest rate can become 2%. Now, that sounds like a juicy deal. The debtor will most likely strive to make payment before 3 months lapses. Now, you also want to, another point is, you want to discourage late payment. You want to spell out in your credit agreement that upon every default, so and so interest rate would accrue, or interest would accrue. Now, one thing I've noticed from dealing with debtors is that many of them don't even know the interest rates. They just want to get the money and go and do the business or whatever thing they want to invest in or use the money for, but they do not understand the import of having interest rates. Now, you want to make them understand that if you don't pay this money by this time, this is how much this money would yield, like, to me. So you want to encourage them, okay, by the time this debt is about to become due, this is what and what and what would happen. You want to make them understand. A lot of debtors are not so literate. I've also seen that from experience. So when you start to call them for, oh, maybe the debtor borrowed 3 million, and now because of default the money has accrued interest, and now it's 5 million. Say, I borrowed 3 million, I paid 3,000 naira or 300,000 naira. How is my money 5 million? They don't understand the import of interest rates. So you need to make them understand how this interest accrues. That's one vital point I think a lot of finance companies miss out. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to be consistent, persistent, and patient with debtors. Now, debtors can be very frustrating. Very frustrating. You call them today and tell them, oh, I need you to make payments. They make promises. Oh, I'll make payment tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, their lines are switched off, or they are just completely not reachable. Now, that can be very discouraging, most especially where you're a debt recovery agent. It can be so discouraging. You can even be emotionally and mentally stressed because of these debtors. But no, actually, you need to learn to be consistent. Now, if you call them today and they do not pick up, you call them tomorrow, you call them the next day, one day they will pick up. Now, maybe for debtors you've been following up on, they've been making promises and they've been defaulting. Many of them really want to pay, they want to make payments, but maybe they do not have the wherewithal. But you have to be patient with them. Go through this with them. Be empathize with them. Basically, put yourself in their shoes. Okay, how can we go about this? Don't just be all about, I want to recover this money and that's it. No, try to understand things from their perspective or from their point of view. Work with them through the debt repayment. So I think that way they'll be encouraged to want to make payments faster. Also, so consistency, persistence, and patience. Just know that one day they will come through. Don't give up, basically, because it's your money, and you eventually you want that money back. So don't give up on that money. Now, the next point is calling them at strategic times. No, you cannot be calling a salary earner at the middle of the month. Salary is all gone. If you and I are familiar with Nigerians and their way of life, immediately they get their salary, let's say a quarter goes to groceries, then maybe house rent, bills and utility bills come in. Then maybe they want to get clothes, one or two shoes and bags and whatnot, depending on who is the debtor, maybe a female or a male. But you want to call them at strategic points. You want to call them a week before they get their salary, the salary week, the day they get their salary. You want to keep singing it into their hair. Okay, you have this debt, you have to clear it. You want us to stop calling you, so make sure you clear this debt. You've gotten your salary now, so as the money enters, they just want to get rid of this nuisance, this debt recovery agent that keeps calling them. So you can call them at strategic points. Don't call them in between the months when everything is already, or everything is gone, and then you start to tell them, oh, you're owing so debt. They will be irritated by that call. You will be irritated by their attitude. So just be strategic about it. Okay, so the last but not the least point, engage a professional debt collector. Now, like I said, recovery of debt can be so frustrating. No, it can literally tick you off. So when you know that, okay, your back is against the wall, you cannot do this anymore, you cannot put up with these debtors anymore, you want to engage a professional debt collector. Now, professional debt collectors deploy their skills to negotiate and persuade debtors to extract payments. So where you have tried all possible means to recover your debt from the debtor to no avail, you can engage their services. They have the requisite skills, intuition, and emotional intelligence to deal with your clients. So I hope you understood, a little bit today how you can go about your debt recovery better. How you can make use of all these points to initiate a better debt recovery. So conclusively, debt recovery requires a lot of positivity and skills such as intelligence, intuition, objectivity, quick thinking, the ability to adapt to new situations, good diction and communication skills, and the ability to solve problems, and very importantly, charisma. Your mind has to be together. You do not want to bring in your emotions into debt recovery. You do not want to, channel all that anger. No. You must be happy. You have to be a happy person to be a debt recovery agent, because already these debtors are angry because nobody wants to owe people money anyways. So you have to know that it doesn't always have to be a tough ride. It can be fun. It can be Debt recovery can be fun. It depends on perspective, how you see it. You can just, see these debtors as funny people going through life, learn from their story, make them see things from your perspective, maybe even appeal to their sense of conscience, appeal to their conscience. Tell them, oh, we are just a small company. Oh, do you know that this money is restricting our development, is affecting us one way or the other? You want to tell them these things. That human beings, they're not wicked people. So they would understand things from your perspective, and somewhere you would have appealed to their conscience and they would work towards repaying the debt. So I hope with these few points of mine have been able to enlighten you on debt recovery strategies. I hope this session was insightful. I hope you loved it. I would appreciate comments from you. Questions are welcome. Just let's talk about debt recovery strategies. Have a great week ahead. Thank you.